So now in this video we're going to be talking about series components. So we got the capacitors, the LEDs, which are a type of diode, and then resistors we'll get to later on. We're going to start with capacitors because they are the simplest. They're pretty straightforward. In fact, when you put them in parallel, their capacitance simply adds up. So these are all 1000 microfarad capacitors. Right here they're electrolytic. That side has to be more negative, that side more positive. That one's a bit larger because it can handle more voltage. So all we really have to worry about is that each capacitor can handle the voltage that you're going to apply to it. So this one can handle 35 volts right there, 1000 microfarad, and these two can handle 25 volts right there. So you can use these two together or one of these with one of that if you're going to put them in parallel. But the main takeaway is the lowest value voltage we have here is 25 volts, so we cannot charge them more than that. So I have these jumpers here to make sure the capacitors are discharged. You want to discharge them before you measure capacitance, and this is probably my best meter other than my LCR meter, but for multimeters this is probably the best for measuring capacitance. So I can leave the red probe there. I only have to move it for 10 amps. For this particular meter we set it to capacitance, and I don't know about newer meters, but all the meters I've looked at before, they usually don't measure a lot of capacitance, and so I don't think a lot of them go up to 1000 microfarad. And this is auto ranging, so it's going to take a little time to figure out what range it has to be and everything, and then set up the display. So that is 0.991 millifarad, which is the same as 990 microfarad right there. So it's a little less than 1 millifarad. So that's another thing we got to be aware of during this video, is that there's tolerance. Components do not usually have the exact value that they are rated for, and just production errors and whatnot. It's expensive to make them extremely accurate. So there we go. Now we're in the microfarad range on the meter. It's a 934. So it is a bit lower. Now remember, we discharged these capacitors. If you think there's a somewhat high voltage or something, or you're using very large capacitors, use a resistor to discharge. But in any case, now we're going to bring that capacitor here. So they're in parallel. They're connected at the same 2 points. But then when we take the measurement there, we will see that it's almost 2 millifarad or 2000 microfarad right there. So both of them are slightly shy of 1 millifarad or 1000 microfarad, and so it's a little shy of twice that. So we can keep adding capacitors in parallel as long as we want until we get the voltage we want. They keep adding up. Just remember to pay attention to the voltage. So that's really it. Now we look at series LEDs and series resistors all the time. Series capacitors, they behave very differently well in series. So if you're interested in putting capacitors in series, generally you don't need to, and that's usually intended for higher voltages. You also get a reduction in the capacitance. So if you put them in series, you actually get half the capacitance, but it's very tricky how they store voltage. So you got to really know what you're doing. So I'm not going to cover that topic anymore. I've covered in earlier videos. And just really quickly, I want to show one of the effects. So I have this wired up to give us an RC time constant. The oscilloscope probes are connected to these jumpers over there. But there you can see that we have that curve for charging this 1000 microfarad capacitor with a 1000 ohm resistor up to 5 volts. We saw that curve. Now we are going to, while I'm wiring this up, quickly do that again. We'll short it to discharge it, and you can see the curve right there. Now I'm going to grab another capacitor. You can see something weird because it was disconnected. We lost some of the voltage, and then it started charging right there, and it's getting a little cramped there. Let's short it again, And so we saw the one curve, and now the curve, we'll discharge it. It's going to take 2 times as long to give us that RC time constant curve. That's because we have twice the resistance. So as you can see, this is a lot, quite a bit awkward, I should say. It would be a better idea, and I can remove this. They were both charged 5 volts. It'll hold 5 volts. It's better to use more resistance. So it's a lot easier to change the resistance to set the time of a capacitor. But you could use parallel capacitors to change the time if need be. They will store more energy. That is the main thing. If you need more stored energy for whatever reason, putting capacitor in parallel is a nice way to do that. So now, the LED is not, or other diodes are not as straightforward as capacitor, but once you understand what they do, they are actually pretty simple. So they're going to block a certain amount of voltage. So it's important that they have the same forward voltage. And so really you want to use the same type of diode or LED for the most part. And even then, it's kind of tricky. So let's take a look. So we have here a 1 kilo ohm resistor and a red LED diode. So the red LED diode is going to block about 2 volts. We'll make the math easy. And that will, since we're using 5 volts at the rail here, that will give us a 3 volt difference across the resistor. It's a 1 kilo ohm resistor, and so it will pass about 3 milliamps of current. So we can see that really easily right there. That's why I have it open right now. So you'll see the LED come on, and you're going to see pretty close to spot on 3 milliamps of current right there, just a tad bit higher. So now we're going to put another red LED in parallel. So of course this is the anode side. That has to be more positive, cathode more negative for it to light up. That's for both of them. And so long lead over here we're going to put to where the resistor is, and then short lead we're going to put to the other cathode. The long lead anode, both of them are up there. Short lead cathode, both of them are down there. And we have a path here. And so it's important we use the exact same diode component, because hopefully they'll block the exact same voltage. The one blocking the least voltage will end up taking all the current. But in any case, we had 3.1 milliamps of current with one LED. Now we got the 2 in parallel. You can see they're both lighting up, but the total current is the same. So this is the current going through the resistor, and also the meter, of course, because we're getting that meter measurement. But that current is being split up across the 2 LEDs. So they both have about 1.6 milliamps of current going through them. So they're splitting it up. Now, if we grab a green LED, a third LED, so this is a different color. It blocks a different voltage. So I know that only the red LEDs are going to light up, and it's still going to be basically 3.2 milliamps right there. And that's because the green LED is blocking too much voltage. Current's going through the LEDs, they're holding the voltage down before any current can pass through the green LED. Now we're going to yank the 2 red LEDs. So the green LED blocks about 3 volts approximately. And not exactly 3 volts, but pretty close. So we're going to have a little more than 2 volts across the 1 kilo ohm resistor. We're going to have about 2 milliamps of current going through the resistor and the green LED. So the green LED, there's not much current going through. It looks like it's probably blocking a little less voltage. We could take those measurements, but in any case, you could see it was less than what the red LEDs are, even though the green LED is a lot brighter, interestingly enough. So if you want bright LEDs, reds are not your best option. So now we're going to grab another green LED and put it parallel. So now it has the same voltage, forward voltage, as the one next to it, because it's the same component, unless it gets damaged or something. And so now they're both going to light up. They're sharing the current, but as you can see, the current is pretty much exactly the same. So they're splitting it up. There's about 1.25 across them. So they're not as bright as they would be alone, but they're splitting up the current. So you can, these have a limit of 20 milliamps of current. If you have them parallel, you can start passing more current because they'll split it up. You just have to keep the 20 milliamps for each of the LEDs. So you got to be aware of that. But in any case, that's an easy way to light them up at the same time without losing any more voltage than we just lost. These two LEDs, we'll put them in series now. And so let's zoom in so we can see a little easier. We have them in series. So we got the anode to the resistor, cathode there, and then the anode to the cathode, and the cathode down there. And let's measure current now. And it's not going to be 0, but it's going to be pretty close. Right there. So less than half of a milliamp now to light them both up because they're blocking too much voltage. So the red LEDs block a fair amount less voltage, but still getting somewhat close to 5. And so they're not going to pass a lot of current again, but I think it's going to be maybe 1 milliamp. We will take a look right there. So yeah, a little more than 1 milliamp right there. And so putting them in series, they build up too much voltage, makes it hard to light them up. If you can keep raising the voltage though, that's not a problem. They light up pretty nicely in series. But if you're dealing with low voltages, you want to light up a bunch of LEDs, you kind of have to put them in parallel. Or you just use tons of resistors protecting each one of them individually. Then the resistor and the LED will be parallel to the other resistor and LEDs. And finally, we come to resistors. So resistors, their current simply adds up. That is the main takeaway. They will have the same voltage across them. As we saw earlier, diodes, LEDs and stuff can block a certain voltage. Capacitors, they charge up, and as they charge up, they're blocking more voltage from a resistor. So other components can change the value across the resistors, but whatever's left will be across parallel resistors. And so each one of them will pass current as if the other one doesn't exist based on the capacitance. And so you'll have twice the current because each one of them is letting through the same amount of current if they're equal value. And so basically it's like having a resistor of half the resistance. And there's some advantages of that. First off, you may not have a 500 ohm resistor. You can just take a couple parallel 1 kilo ohm resistors. Plus, they're splitting up the power dissipation. So they are not getting as warm. They both have a relatively low amount of current going through them. They're not getting terribly hot, but that current adds up as far as other components are concerned. So again, we're just going to quickly take some multimeter measurements to prove this. So this is pretty straightforward, and we can go to any point where the negative and the positive rail are to see that we have 5 volts right there. I'm going to put the voltage up on my power supply. Usually I do this a little bit more so that we're just a speck above the voltage there. So I have it set to about 5.1 right there, but because of resistance in the wires and stuff, I have these kind of pointless connections. It'd be nicer if I could put the power supply directly into the rail and then not cross over here either. But in any case, we can go to any 2 points of the rail. Now we'll have a tad bit more than 5 volts. Sorry, I went a little too far that way. So right there. Now, main takeaway is these are all 1 kilo ohm resistors. We can quickly do that measurement. So we don't want to measure them with current flowing through them, but they all come to a dead end right there. So the only current that can flow through them is what the meter gives. So 1 kilo ohm right there, same as 1,000 ohms and 1 kilo ohm. So those two are shy just a bit, and so is that one. Now we will measure current. So we saw they're all 1 kilo ohm resistors. We got 5 volts, 1,000 ohms of resistance, and I almost did the pros backwards, but that's no big deal. You just get a negative number. And so there you can see we got a little more than 5 milliamps. That will be for each resistor right there, 5 milliamps. And oops, I want to go right there, 5 milliamps. So they're all passing practically the same. So now I'm going to put this one parallel to that one. They're both positive rail on one side, and they both go to the same row on the other side. And that one went in at an awkward angle. So now the lead is bent. I'll have to unbend it later. But in any case, with 1 kilo ohm resistor, we have 5 milliamps current. With 2 of them in parallel, we'll have twice the current for 10 milliamps right there. So it's like having a 500 ohm resistor. And so again, maybe you don't have a 500 ohm resistor. Maybe you're dealing with voltages where a 500 ohm resistor will get too hot. And I think this whole row is kind of bent out of shape. So I'll have to fix these resistors later. But now we'll have 15 milliamps of current. So really straightforward. Their currents add up. Main takeaway is you have the equivalent of a lower value resistor. As long as they're equal value, it makes the math easy. 2 of them, you got 1/2 the resistance. 3 of them in parallel, you have 1/3 of the resistance. And pretty straightforward. And so now let's move along to another pretty easy to understand use of parallel resistors. So first we're going to actually look at, well, they are in series. And so if you don't have the exact value resistance that you want, they come in distinct value, like 1000. There's really no 1050 that I know of or anything. But if you need 1010, you can just take a 1000 ohm resistor, put a 10 ohm resistor in series, you'll have 1010. Now, with these resistors, as we saw, they were a bit lower than their rated value. So I think they were about 10 ohms below their rated value. So let's say we need exactly 1000 ohms, at least as close as we can get. There you can see that we are about 10 hundredths of a ohm off, which 10 ohms would be compared to a 1000 ohm resistor right there. So we got 10 ohms. Now remember, there's no current going through here. Make sure it comes to a dead end. Make sure that when you measure resistance, there's no current flowing through the component. But there we go. Now we actually have the 1000 ohms. So if these were perfect components, we would actually have 1010 ohms. So pretty straightforward. Now also, don't worry about this is a low value resistor, 10 ohms when you're dealing with 5 volts, but it has the 1 kilo ohm resistor protecting it. It's going to take about 99% of the voltage across it. There'll hardly be any voltage across the 10 ohm resistor, and have the same current flowing through there. So it's actually going to be the 1 kilo ohm resistor that gets hot in this case, just like when it protects an LED. So now we're going to look at the other scenario right now. So I'll move the 10 ohm resistor away. This is a 100,000 ohm resistor. So as I said, their currents add up. So the 1 kilo ohm is going to provide the bulk of the current compared to a 100 kilo ohm, 100,000 ohm resistor. So about 99% of the current will be from that resistor. This will just be a little bit added. So it's like having a slightly lower value resistor. So we already saw this is already about 990. It's off a bit. So adding this one, we should get closer to 980. So we're going to add it parallel. Put that's also to the positive rail, and then that is to the same jumper there. You may be able to see orange right there. That's a good way to know you're in the hundreds of thousands of ohms of resistance. And that's one reason why after you get a little bit familiar with the color code, it gets less confusing. So I still have the meter set to measure resistance. It'll probably start beeping soon, telling me I haven't used it in a while. But in any case, we go across the resistors, and there you can see 980 ohms, or 0.98